Genghis Khan, Mongol ruler. Genghis Khan, the leader of the Mongols, grew up in obscurity and built the biggest land empire in history. He unified the nomadic tribes of the Mongolian plateau before capturing major portions of China and Central Asia. His ancestors continued to expand the empire, conquering distant lands like Poland, Vietnam, Syria, and Korea. At their height, between 11 and 12 million contiguous square miles, or an area about the size of Africa, were under the Mongols' authority at their height. Although Genghis Khan's invasions resulted in the deaths of many people, he also gave his subjects the right to practice their religion freely, outlawed torture, promoted trade, and established the first global mail service. During a military battle against the Chinese state of Xizia, Genghis Khan perished in 1227. His place of ultimate repose. Genghis Khan, the early years. Temujin, who would later become Genghis Khan, was born in or about 1162, not far from where modern Mongolia and Siberia met. According to legend, he was born with a blood clot in his right hand. His father had abducted his mother and forced her into matrimony. Life for the Temujin was harsh and unpredictable in that period, as dozens of nomadic tribes on the Central Asian steppe were continuously warring and plundering one another. His father was poisoned to death by a rival clan before he turned 10. Then, Temujin's own clan abandoned him, his mother and his 6 siblings so they wouldn't have to provide for them. Soon after, Temujin killed his older half-brother and became the ruler of the impoverished family. He was briefly abducted and sold into slavery by the clan that had left him, but he managed to get away. Temujin wed Bort in 1178. They had 4 boys and an undetermined number of daughters. After Bort was abducted as well, he undertook a daring rescue effort to save her, and he soon started forging alliances, earning a reputation as a fierce fighter and gaining an increasing number of supporters. The oldest known source of Mongolian history and literature, The Secret History of the Mongols, which was published soon after Genghis Khan's demise, contains the majority of the information we have about his early years. Genghis Khan unites the Mongols. Temujin broke with tradition by placing capable allies rather than family members in important roles and by assassinating the heads of rival tribes while absorbing the remaining members into his clan. He gave the directive to hold off on any plunder until after a decisive victory, and grouped his soldiers into 10-man units without regard to kinship. Temujin was an animist, but he also had Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists as his adherents. By 1205, he had defeated every foe, including Jamukha, his erstwhile close buddy. The following year, he convened a gathering of representatives from every region of the realm and founded a country about the size of contemporary Mongolia. Additionally, he was given the title Genghis Khan, which loosely translates as universal ruler and was popularized in the West. Genghis Khan establishes an empire. Genghis Khan consolidated the steppe tribes and governed over 1 million people. He removed inherited aristocratic titles in an effort to quell the traditional roots of tribal conflict. He also outlawed the buying and selling of women, the enslavement of any Mongol, and the execution of cattle thieves. Additionally, long before the concept of religious freedom spread abroad, Genghis Khan oversaw the adoption of a writing system, carried out regular censuses, extended diplomatic protection to foreign ambassadors, and permitted it. Western China's Xizia dynasty was the target of Genghis Khan's first campaign outside of Mongolia. The Mongols started a significant initiative in 1209 that brought them to the doorstep of Yinchuan, the Xizia capital, following a series of attacks. The Mongols, in contrast to other armies, did not travel with a supply train other than a sizable stock of horses. The majority of the army was made up of cavalrymen, who were skilled riders and lethal with a bow and arrow. The Mongols launched a siege at Yinchuan after using a feigned withdrawal, one of their defining strategies. The Xizia ruler gave in and paid tribute despite their failed attempt to drown the city. The Jin dynasty of northern China was the next target of the Mongols' onslaught since its emperor had made the error of seeking submission from Genghis Khan. The outnumbered Mongols destroyed the countryside from 1211 to 1214 and drove hordes of refugees into the towns. Due to food shortages, the Jin army was forced to massacre tens of thousands of its own peasants. When the Mongols invaded Jiangdu in 1214, the Jin emperor consented to send over significant quantities of silk, silver, gold, and horses. Genghis Khan perceived the Jin ruler's decision to shift his court to Kaifeng in the south as a breach of their agreement, and with the aid of Jin deserters, destroyed Jiangdu. Genghis Khan waged war against the Khwarezm Empire in 1219, occupying what are now Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Iran. A trading agreement had been made with the local ruler, but as soon as the first caravan arrived, its goods were taken and its merchants were slaughtered. Then, a few of Genghis Khan's ambassadors were killed by the Sultan. The Mongol horde swept through after another Khwarezm city, including Bukhara, Samarkand, and Urgench, despite once more being outnumbered. Aristocrats and rebellious troops were typically slain, but skilled tradesmen like jewelers and carpenters were frequently spared. In the meantime, unskilled laborers were frequently employed as human shields during the subsequent attack. Nobody can say for sure how many people perished in Genghis Khan's conflicts, in part because the Mongols instilled fear by cultivating a reputation for brutality. Genghis Khan's death and the continuation of the empire. Genghis Khan had vast swaths of country under his authority from the Sea of Japan to the Caspian Sea when he returned to Mongolia in 1225. Nevertheless, he didn't take much time to relax before returning to the Xia kingdom, which had declined to send troops to aid in the Khwarezm invasion. Early in 1227, a horse knocked Genghis Khan to the ground, injuring him inside. He continued the campaign despite his health never fully recovering. On August 18, 1227, he passed away right before the Xia were destroyed. More than any other person in history, Genghis Khan ruled over more than twice as much territory, bringing Eastern and Western civilizations together in the process. His descendants, notably Ogodai and Kublai, were also ruthless conquistadors who seized power in a number of regions, including Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the remainder of China. Before the Mongol Empire disintegrated in the 14th century, the Mongols even attacked Java and Japan. In 1920, the final surviving descendant of Genghis Khan was removed from power.